Well, welcome inside the Kia Center to Courtside Countdown. I'm your host, Kendra Douglas, and we're going to get you started for tonight's game as the Orlando Magic are hosting the Detroit Pistons tonight. It is going to have to be a bounce-back game tonight, guys, but we have some exciting things happening, and that's why I went on to Twitter, and I was just like, you guys have to lock in because we have a lot to talk about. First things first, of course, make sure that you subscribe to the Orlando Magic YouTube page and all the other social media platforms, so that way you can continue to be in the know of all the things that we're doing, and that way we can continue to see what you guys want to talk about as well. Because already, hi Will, I see you guys are coming into the chat, and I'm excited because there's so much to get to. For starters, the pieces are coming back together, guys. Jalen Suggs is available to play for tonight's game. Such a big, exciting moment because he's been out since that January 3rd game where he hurt his back in Toronto. He was able to speak today, and let's listen to what Jalen had to say during shoot-around.
What's up? How you feeling? How exciting is it to be elevated to questionable and have a potential chance to play tonight?
No, it feels great. It feels good just getting in the rhythm with the guys, running up and down the court, talking through sets, talking about sets. Just kind of being in the action, get to celebrate with TDS back here, that handsome man. So really just excited to be a part of this energy. You can be a part of it while you're not playing, but it's different, than having, your emotions in the game and really going to war with them. So I'm excited. Big thing for me this year has been recognizing flow, recognizing energy, and I think for me, especially as we get P and Franz back, picking up my intensity a bit more, finding spots where I can turn it on and change the energy in the game, change the flow of the game. Just speaking personally, and then as a whole, just continuing to stay together, which we have done, continuing to play with joy, and as we get, rhythm back, routine back, with everybody rocking, those things will become seamless. So really just bringing joy and good energy to the boys as I'm coming back, and letting the rest play out as God intends.
So just exciting to have Jalen back into the mix. You can just hear how excited he is to be able to play with this team again. Head coach Jamal Mosley talked about the energy factor he brings to this team and how excited he is to see these guys get back into the groove of things. Taking a look at just what he's been able to accomplish so far, he's averaging 16.4 points per game in the 34 games and the 34 starts he's had so far. The team continuing to slowly get back to full health. He missed 10 games because of that back injury. And one thing that they were always talking about with Coach Mosley and with the Magic is that it takes time, and you have to be able to make sure that once someone goes through practice, once someone goes through what they went through, that it all depends on how they are able to get back into the groove of things and how they respond to treatment. So that is the biggest thing with Jalen, making sure that he's able to respond to treatment the correct way, and he's able to come out here and play with his team. Mosley also talked about the starting lineup for today's game, which is so exciting because when you think about what this team has been through, this is the sixth time that this starting lineup is coming back. So you're going to talk about Paolo, Franz, Jalen, KCP, and Wendell Carter. He mentioned that today during the pregame message. So this is huge. Yes, they're not going to be the same team that played in those first 5 games, but to bring that back, it's going to be exciting, especially in the Kia Center tonight, where I'm expecting it to be alive and electric as they take on the Detroit Pistons for the second time in this month. Going, though, into this game, I know you guys are thinking, what about that game that they just played against the Portland Trail Blazers? Yes. It was a tough one. It was a hard one. A bounce-back game again tonight for this Orlando Magic before getting on the road to face off against Miami and that West Coast stretch. Dan Savage mentioned how the Magic, they were have to be the ones to hit first, but Portland, they were the ones to hit first. They started out pretty well, though, went 13-5 on that run for the last 4 minutes in the first quarter. They were up 21-18 after the first quarter. Tristan Da Silva came off the bench, gave that team a spark. Great job at defending, helped slow down Portland, making shots. He finished with 16 points. Paolo Banchero had a little bit of a rocky night, 8 points that night, but still able to really help this team when needed, especially in assists. Anthony Black made his 4th start of the season for the Magic, delivered 12 points. Jet Howard also in the mix with 10 points. The Trailblazers, though, outscored the Magic in the second quarter, 29-18, and they just continue to keep that lead the local guy in Anthony Simons. I mean, he just made a statement coming back into this one. Led 5 players in double figures with 21 points. Overall, just a tough night, but it was good to see Franz Wagner back into the mix. So here is the final score page of what this team happened, of what happened. Final score 101-79. Overall, before we get into Franz, I want to know how you guys felt about his performance. What were some of the things that you liked about what he was able to do? What were some of the things that you're hoping to see he's able to do? As we just mentioned, you've got Franz back. You've got Jalen back. You've got Paolo back. Guys are starting to get healthy again, and I want to hear from you all. How did it feel to see Franz back in action? Of course, he was on a minutes restriction, 24 minutes, but still, just to see him with this team and his leadership with his team just felt really good to see. Franz Wagner, of course, was able to come back with his team. He missed a couple games because of that right oblique injury, which I'm just saying, that's a tough one for this Magic team. Was able to get into a groove in this one. Only played 5 games with Paolo in the beginning of the season, so it's definitely going to be a situation where those two are going to have to figure out their flow yet again, which is okay. This is a growing situation with along this moment. He missed 20 games with that right oblique injury, but 24 minutes he played, was able to help out this Magic team when needed. Just a great night for him. 20 points on that one. I'm hoping that you guys are going to give me some feedback about how you guys love to see. Oh, here we go. Okay, I needed to hit the live chat. Got it. Franz was cooking. Yes. Good looking over there for that 3 for Tristan Da Silva. Yes, we love to see this. How come there's no news about Gary Harris? Well, he is out due to a hamstring strain. So he is out for tonight's game. We will continue to keep you posted on what happens. Coach Mosley did say that he has been able to get through contact stuff. He has been able to work out, but he is out for tonight's game, which leads us to tonight's game against the Detroit Pistons. But also, let's take a look first at the Eastern Conference standings and how the Magic stand and how Detroit stands. So if you can see in the East, boy, it is neck and neck when you take a look at that. Magic, they're in 7th right now. The Pistons round out that top 6. But it is another fluid situation. It is another fluid moment because when you talk about the East, all it takes is one game, Dan Savage, and anything is possible and anything can change.
Yeah, you look at that. That's a tight set of standings. As we look forward, we know that it's going to depend on health, a big part of it, and schedules. Fortunately for the Magic, they're getting healthier, and the strength of their schedule eases up a bit. So hopefully those two things blend together well, and we watch the Magic climb back up the Eastern Conference standings.
The Magic, they've lost 5 straight so far. It would be amazing to see them get a win before they hit the road because the road trip is going to be a very challenging one indeed as well. But sticking to tonight's game, taking on the Detroit Pistons, last time they saw them was New Year's Day.
Correct.
And their last 5 games that Detroit has played has shown that Detroit's continuing to find themselves. They're finding how their groove is. They took those last 2 wins, you could see, against Houston, against Atlanta. Really good teams as well. Of course, that West Coast too, but then getting the win against the Knicks. You're looking at this Detroit team, and they're under JB, of course, too. They're figuring it out.
Yeah, since that New Year's Day game against the Magic, they've won 9 of their last 12. So they're a team that nobody wants to play right now. They're very physical. Since January 1st, they're top 3 in both opponent field goal percentage, fewest rebounds allowed. They protect the paint at a tremendous rate, and they're also top 8 in block shots per game. So physicality is going to be a big thing against this Pistons team, and taking smart shots because right now they're not letting teams get easy shots at the basket.
You say taking smart shots, and you say the physicality. Last time that they played him here, they didn't see Cade Cunningham. They saw Cade in Detroit. They'll see him tonight. He is somebody also that it goes through him. It truly does. When you look at Cade and what he is able to accomplish, even against that Atlanta team, 29 points, 6 rebounds, 11 assists. He now has 29-plus points in 6 of his last 10 games, has really elevated his passing game this season, ranking 2nd in the NBA in assists per game, which sharing the ball is going to be a big deal for him. What are you noticing or what are you liking about what Cade is being able to do this year?
Again, we talked about them since New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Cade Cunningham, since that stretch over that span, is top 13 in the NBA in scoring, also top 10 in assists. So he's both getting it done as a scorer and a distributor. So he's a guy, regardless, he's the head of the snake offensively for the Pistons. And they've done a really good job of putting players around him. You have a young guy in Jalen Duren.
Yeah.
You have one of the Thompson twins alongside him, so 2 young guys for him to grow with. But then 2 veterans since Jaden Ivey's injury are around him, and Tobias Harris and Tim Hardaway Jr. So he's got a nice blend of youth and veteran talent around him, and I think that's really allowed him to excel.
It sure has. I'm getting to some of your comments. Let's go Magic, tight pressure
that.
defense. Harris is more than okay. We won't talk about Harris real quick on that one. Dan the Man.
I like that.
That is also what you are nicknamed in here. Dan, someone thinks that you are stuffed.
I cannot confirm or deny.
To be continued. That's maybe one of my I'll investigate that for you. We can't say it now because Dan's right here. But I'll investigate that to you to see if Dan is actually stuffed. Magic fans, now that we're talking about this Detroit game, what are you hoping to see tonight from this Magic team? What do you hope that this Magic team can accomplish in tonight's game? What do you want to see from Franz? What do you want to see from Paolo? What do you want to see from Jalen? I want to hear it all because it's going to be a big one. But back to Detroit, talking about Jalen Duren, between him and Cade, those two are definitely guys that you want to slow down in tonight's game.
Correct.
And I mean, so far in that Atlanta game, 14 points, 12 rebounds. He's averaging 10.8 points per game in his career against the Magic. Now, also rebounding.
Oh.
He is a guy that knows how to crash the glass, and he is someone that is doing it very well in the league so far this season as well.
No, that's an excellent point, Kendra, because, again, since that January 1st span, which I'll continue to harp on because they've won 9 of 12 since then, Duren is a guy that is averaging a double-double and over 4 offensive rebounds per game. So for a Magic team that wants to close out possessions and limit second-chance opportunities, keeping him off the glass with Wendell Carter Jr. is going to be big because you don't have Goga Batadze to potentially do it as well. So that's going to be big for them.
I definitely think when you're looking at this team, this is a great matchup as well, especially when you're getting your guys healthy again. And I'm excited to see how they're going to respond from losing 5 straight, but still getting guys back. This is a moment for them before we head to the West Coast to see how this Magic team can respond, especially with everything that's happened so far this season.
No, I mean, we talked about what they didn't have the last time they played us, but there's certainly a number of guys on our side that weren't available, whether it be Paolo Banchero or go up and down. But to get Jalen Suggs back is going to be huge. Paolo's still finding his groove, Franz as well. They're going to have to figure it out together, but it's nice to have the same opening night starting lineup that we had at the beginning of the season back here again. These guys do have a chemistry together, and hopefully that shows up on the court tonight.
You can see the comparison right now this season and just overall what stands out to you when you look at the comparisons. We'll say from these last couple of games. We'll even say from a little bit from last season and what's been happening.
When you show those two guys up there, I think of future faces of the league. Both guys who are capable of leading a franchise to better places than that they've been before. And I think Paolo especially has already shown at the playoff level what he's capable of. And I think he's going to do his best to get the Magic playing playoff caliber basketball once again.
One thing I'm excited about is to see Franz Wagner play against Detroit. Something about it. He just does very well when he is able to compete against his team. I mean, the last performances, he's averaged 21.2 points and 4.7 rebounds in his 13 games against Detroit. What is it?
I don't know, but I tell you, another guy to watch out for is KCP against Detroit.
Yes.
You get him against his former teams, he can always show up. But no, with Franz, I think you look at the way that Detroit's played him over the years. A lot of times they'll try to take Paolo away. And Franz can cook. So that's what they have to get back to, the Magic. I think just the simple things with spacing we'll get to a little bit later. But if teams start attacking, trying to double Paolo, it's how do we immediately get Franz to capitalize and some of the other guys to take advantage of open looks.
Yeah, they really are. So I want to continue to get to a lot of your questions. I think someone asked, where is Goga? Goga is still going through concussion protocol for the NBA. Still has to pass a couple things, and then we will continue to see him. But we are starting to see guys come back healthy. The storyline will not be about the injuries soon.
No. And I mean, with Goga, we saw him doing a 2-on-2 session with Gary Harris after shoot around today. So I suspect Gary both getting closer, and we'll just continue to see how they respond from these sessions.
What else we got going on? Now with all the stars coming back on the court, we have to build chemistry again. I like that, Victor. You are absolutely correct, because it is hard. They talked a little bit about it yesterday, is that, like, it's not about the excuses, but there is something to be said. It's reality. That's the reality. But it is something to be said about the chemistry. These guys have only played 5 times together, the starting lineup.
No.
They're coming back for the 6th time.
and it's tough to have 3 guys in your starting unit who are all going to be on minutes restrictions. That's a reality.
Yeah.
And Mose is going to have to figure out, how do I tier that? It's going to be different than normal. And then on top of that, the guys are not only trying to figure out how to play together, but they're trying to figure out what they're capable of doing at this very moment. So a lot to juggle.
Yeah.
And a lot to lean on. And the bad part for the Magic is there isn't a lot of practice time right now to do it. When you're heading into the season, you have training camp, you have 2-a-days. Right now, especially with the injuries, the Magic are trying to use their off days to just get guys back.
Yeah, it's all about film.
So you can't have these heavy practices. So really, their on-court time is their only chance to get a lot of the bugs out. And hopefully tonight we see them get off to a hot start, because the Energizer Bunny is back in the Magic starting lineup.
I know, it sure is, and it's good to see Paolo Banchero behind us, warming up, getting ready for tonight's game. The Orlando Magic will be taking on the Detroit Pistons here at the Kia Center at 7 p.m., so don't forget, make sure you guys lock into that. But I want to get to your storylines.
All right.
Because the biggest one, of course, is that Jalen Suggs is back.
Yes, welcome back, Jalen Suggs. He is the head of the snake when it comes to the Magic's defense.
Yep.
And when it comes to their energy, and he thrives exceptionally well here at Kia Center, so it's only fitting that he comes back here. The next thing is the little things. We touched on it a little bit. When you're trying to get through a shooting slump, the best way to do it is to take advantage of the little aspects of the game that people often overlook. The spacing's going to be key with guys getting back. When to cut, when to move. Those are all going to be pivotal factors for the Magic tonight. They worked on that in shoot-around today. And then who will be more physical? We've seen, since Magic head coach Jamal Mosley's been here, a lot of time these Magic Pistons games come down to physicality.
Yeah.
They have their horses on their end with guys like Beef Stew and Jalen Duren. The Magic are going to have to do it with their guys like Jalen Suggs, KCP, Wendell Carter Jr., Franz Wagner, Paolo, etc.
Yeah, and I want to get to some of the comments. Someone said, welcome back, Jalen. The third piece is back. I definitely feel like they're missing that third piece. I think you underestimate when you lose guys like Jalen and even Mo Wagner and the energy that they bring. I think sometimes people forget about that type of energy that they bring to the table. And then just to have, Coach was talking about Mo Wagner just being in the room.
Oh, absolutely.
It just adds value. So to have Jalen back, the energy aspect, but also, you're right, he flourishes here at the Kia Center, Dan.
No, and when you look at what the Magic have been exceptional at for the majority of the season, it's defense and energy. And when did the bottom start to fall out for the Magic in some of those areas? It's when Jalen and Goga went out along with Mo Wagner. It was just a little too much to handle. So getting those guys back in the row will allow the Magic to get back to their identity and hopefully climb back up the standings.
I just turned on to Twitter and I just saw their comments. I'm sorry that I've missed all your comments on Twitter. So many people are your biggest fan, first off. The legend, Dan Savage. Just everyone have fun, play defense, and be as savage as Dan.
Oh, I like that.
One.
I like that. Hopefully they're even more savage than me, because what you really want to do against Detroit is out-physical them.
Yeah.
And, we talked about that they're good at taking teams off the offensive glass, not allowing second chance points. The Magic are equally good in those areas. And I expect them to go toe for toe and be in a slugfest tonight.
One thing that also mentioned is Paolo on minutes restrictions, so everyone is going to be on minutes restrictions. Let's go ahead and get that out the way. Paolo's still ramping up. He still will be on minutes restrictions, but he's starting to continue to get better. The last time he played in Toronto, it was kind of like, well, are we sure we're on minutes restrictions? So we're ramping up. Franz will be on minutes restrictions. Jalen Suggs will be on minutes restrictions. So, yes.
And I imagine they'll also take it easy with Cole Anthony,
Yes.
who's just coming back from an illness, probably not 100% over it, but doing his best to give it a go tonight, along with Jonathan Isaac, who
Yep.
also recently overcame an illness and did his best to get back on the court.
I think it'll be really good to have those guys come back, because one thing that Detroit really has well and has done well is their reserve and their guys coming off the bench and those bench points. But also the Magic do well in that area as well, too. They just haven't been able to because they're trying to figure out ways and lineups. So it will be nice to see the trend come back of this Magic group, this second unit really performing.
No, it's an excellent point. And the Magic's bench unit used to be able to flip the script, help get them some leads. But the Magic's bench has been starting or out, and some of the third stringers have been, even starting. So it's going to be nice as the Magic starters come back together for the bench unit also to get back together and gel. For the longest time when players would leave the starting lineup, Mose would actually substitute a guy maybe who wasn't even playing into the starting lineup to not disrupt the flow of the second unit because they were performing so well together.
Yes.
He has not had that luxury. He's had to disrupt everything as injuries and illness have plagued this team. So it's going to be really nice for not only the starting unit to rebuild their chemistry, but that second unit as well.
For sure. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Orlando Magic. So tonight's game will be against Detroit, but we head to Miami, Dan Savage, and we have a Sunshine State showdown. I don't know if I can say that 5 times fast.
Yes. Is there a better team for this Magic team to beat than the Heat?
I know, especially right now.
Do Magic fans take more pride
Yes.
than beating any other team than the Miami Heat?
Here's what I will say.
I'd like to hear that.
Here's what I will say. If you guys have not been on Kevin Love's Instagram, the man is trolling, and it is hilarious. I've taken time to just laugh at this man. So, anyway, and then I know we just played this team, but this is the start of the West Coast trip for the Magic. They start in Portland, and then they will go and play Utah. So 2 teams who the Magic should have beat here at the Kia Center. Now it's their opportunity to beat them on their court. I think when you look at both of these games, especially what's going on with Miami, and especially the fact that Portland's trying to figure it out, Utah's trying to figure it out, this is an opportunity for this Magic team to, 1, not settle, 2, realize that they have to get these games because, 1, it'll help them in the standings, but 2, you can't look at a team's score and their record and say, all right, we should play easy. It should be easy for them.
I learned that lesson recently.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, if there's anything you could take from some of those losses, say you have to bring it every single night regardless of the opponent. But based off record and what we expect this Magic team to be when they're at full strength, those are some games you have to get.
Yeah.
They talked about it before the season started. It's that Tuesday night in Charlotte. You can't let any of those games that you should win, teams below 500, etc. First of all, beat the Heat.
Yes.
That's always important.
Always.
Regardless of what either team's record is. And then secondly, take care of those sub-500 teams because when the Magic have excelled, they've done a great job of taking care of the opponents they should beat.
They sure have. And I see some Magic fans who said they will be in Miami for that game. I see Lewis said that Lewis said that he will be behind the bench. Josh Cohen, Dan and Kendra, what do you think is the best in-game snack? Popcorn, chips, or pretzels?
Uncrustable.
Oh, got you, Josh. Yes,
that's
the
the
one.
official snack
Yes.
of the Magic media teams, as we could say.
It sure is.
They're trying to go for the record of beating the Denver Broncos for most Uncrustables consumed, so that's a big one. But you know what I'd love to see in Miami? On opening night, we saw there were Let's Go Magic chants.
Yep.
There were Paolo MVP chants.
Yes, there were.
Could flip the script on Miami and have that again. That would be really nice.
That would be amazing. The last one, too. Look at you, Josh. You got everyone involved because people are saying pretzels. We love pretzels and warm pretzels. Yes, look, that's also
a nice giant pretzel with some mustard. I could see that as
yes.
well.
One thing I want to mention, though, AB has to have more confidence in his shots. I agree with that. As he is continuing to go to the rim and be a little bit more aggressive, I think that will come with time. But I think he's starting to, one, be more aggressive. The confidence level is going to come up, though.
Yeah, and he has to realize when you're playing against Franz and Paolo, teams are going to pack the paint. They're going to take that away.
Yep.
You're going to be open from the outside, especially when he gets the ball late in the shot clock like he did sometimes last game against Portland Trailblazers. You've got to step into those open looks with confidence and trust that they'll fall.
They sure do. Okay, well, that will do it for us. Final thoughts before we head out, Dan Savage.
Just be more physical. As the chat says, be more savage.
Yes.
Want to see that tonight. Bring the energy here at Kia Center and, smack the Pistons in the mouth. Knock them out right from the start.
That's what we want to see. All right, so up next will be the Magic Live, the pregame show, and you can catch with Dante Marcatelli and the team, so make sure you lock into that at 6:30. Tonight's game is at 7 p.m. The Magic taking on the Detroit Pistons for the second time this month. We cannot wait to see you guys in Miami. We cannot wait to see you guys on our road trip, so make sure that you subscribe to all the social media platforms so we can continue to be in conversation with you and be in the know. Also, Orlando Magic group chat. I'm coming for you Tuesday at noon on the YouTube page. Make sure you lock in so we can recap this game and recap the Miami game and be able to just talk about the upcoming schedule and what's going on Magic stuff. So thank you again. Thank you to our staff and our team behind the scenes to make this show a success. We will see you later, Magic fans. Enjoy tonight's game.